Okay, let's go. It's your turn to do the intro.
My turn to do the intro?
Yeah, because I did it last time.
All right. Welcome back to Let's Unpack That. It's a podcast where the two of us talk about books that we read as kids now that we have student loan debt. I'm Nenah.
That's very reassuring. I'm Lidia.
I mean, but it's the truth. You know, we did the whole college thing and now we have student loan debt. And so now we're qualified to talk about books that we used to read as innocent-eyed, doe-eyed 12-year-olds.
Although this month, the applications for the student loan relief are supposed to open up.
They are. Yeah. So. Did you hear that there's actually going to be some addendums to that? If you have a Perkins loan and it was not consolidated into a certain kind of loan, I don't think they're getting the relief on it.
It's a Perkins loan.
It's a certain kind of loan that you can get. I want to say it was a student loan through a private bank, but was also done through FAFSA. It's something weird, but like the Republicans are shit, first of all. And they're fighting tooth and nail to keep people from getting student loan debt for absolutely no reason. So now there's qualifications and certain loans may not actually have relief. So be sure to check on, I want to say, FAFSA or one of the government websites.
Yeah,
we can link them in the show notes.
Studentaid.gov. Right?
Studentaid.gov, yeah.
That'll have all the accurate information.
Yeah, but no, there is
rumors abound.
No, but there is one that's going to be no longer eligible that was originally going to be, which is shitty. So
that sucks.
It's really shitty.
I got lucky. All of mine are Stafford subsidized. So I'm like, TBH, most of my debt is going to be wiped out.
Oh, that's good.
So real good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
So, but like even if you don't think you're eligible, just apply.
Yeah, definitely.
Just apply. Because there's no harm in doing so, and you might not think that you're eligible, but actually be.
Yeah, absolutely. Apply.
So, yeah. And if it means that you can do other things with that money or, like, just feel the less burden of debt.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to wipe out mine, but it's definitely going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for sure, check in on that if you can. And also, we're coming up to an election cycle. I know we have some pretty interesting, what are they going to be called? Mid-election cycle. We're going to have some interesting things on the ballot for Colorado anyway. So be sure to check up on that. Make sure you're educated. Make sure you're voting. Make sure you're registered to vote. Yeah, and I'll just be completely honest. Let's kick some Republicans out of office. I hear Beto O'Rourke is actually doing fantastic in Texas.
Oh, that's
like people who have historically only voted Republican are going to be voting for him.
Oh,
it comes across my TikTok all the time, and like it's a small number, but it's frequent enough that it gives me hope.
For governor?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's no surprise Greg Abbott has been shit these last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
the way he handled Uvalde is
hell.
Is absolutely dishonorable the way he handled that.
Uvalde, you've got the hurricane that hit Houston.
Yeah.
The big freeze a couple of years back.
And the power grid going down.
During which Ted Cruz fled the country.
So he is from Texas. I couldn't remember if he was Utah, but that's Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll ever end up in the shitter too. That would be nice. That'd be nice if he lost his job. Anyway, lots of things going on. Stay educated.
Yep.
Stay on top of things. Google some stuff. Read the news in the morning. That's what I tend to do, is I tend to read the news in the morning.
Okay. That's good of you. I just go to Twitter.
Oh, no, yeah. No, I try to read the news in the morning.
I mean, if there's something that I want more information about, then I'll look at it. But
yeah. No, the news app on my phone, like Apple News or whatever, even though it always advertises for like News Plus or something, I usually use that and I click through it in the morning. So that's always fun.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Bill.
You just offended the hell out of him.
Oh, I always do. I'm so sorry. Now he's burrowing under my desk.
Oh,
here he comes.
Come on.
Hello.
Let's see if we can get him on camera. Okay, this is progress.
Okay.
Hi, bud.
Hi.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, this is Boo. Actually, funny story about him. Before we get into the book, clearly this is the day of tangents, but I was talking to my mom yesterday just about everything, and school came up. And my mom mentioned that I need to potentially look into registering him as an ESA dog, when I go back to school. But the thing is I think I'm his ESA. I don't know how much emotional support he gives me, but I think I give him all of the emotional support.
Yeah.
So he is now sleeping next to me. So
yeah, he's a good boy.
So hopefully that all came through. I hope that didn't get cut off. I don't know when it got
I don't
cut
think
off.
it did.
Okay.
I think it was just warning us, and then it would have shut off.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, memory cards.
Memory cards
Gotta
are
love
fun.
them.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah. So today we are discussing Percy Jackson and the Olympians.
No, Percy Jackson and Lightning Thief. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is the name of the series.
Oh,
the
Lightning Thief. Okay.
Is the name of the book.
I thought it was just Percy Jackson. That's how much I know.
Well, we're discussing chapter 3 today.
This chapter was wild.
It was.
I was like,
finally getting going.
Yeah.
With the action.
I mean, is it finally, or is it just that we've been doing just one chapter an episode, and it's taking us a minute?
Yeah, it is. It has taken us 6 weeks to get to this point in the book. So, but yeah, we didn't write a summary.
Oh, again. Shit. Oh, shit. Okay.
I forgot.
But essentially, things pick up, and I think that actually makes it easier to summarize, because essentially Percy, right off the bat, ditches Grover. Confession time. I also would have ditched Grover. He gets back home to his apartment. We meet his mother and his stepdad. I think they are actually married, right?
Yeah.
They are. Okay, it is actually stepdad. And then Percy's mom says that they're going on a trip to this cabin that he has been to a few times before, because that's where Percy's mom met his dad, a cabin by the sea. Wild. And then they spend time together. They reminisce a little bit about his father, and then the storm hits in the middle of the night, and it's like hurricane force winds, even though nothing had really been there was no sign of it happening previously. And they woke up in the middle of the night with the storm coming, and then suddenly Grover is at the door, and then they are running for their lives.
Yep. But he doesn't know what from or why, or why nobody is talking to him.
So it's kind of, a lot happens, and
it's getting wild.
I'm excited, because it definitely seems like we're learning more things. Also, this was a huge ADHD moment when I was reading it, but I decided to Google where East 104th and 1st Street is in New York City, and looked it up on Google Maps. And Google Maps actually plops you down right in front of some huge apartment buildings, which I thought was hilarious. I was like, oh, hey, look, this is actually like the apartment complex that he lives in. They're huge, too. So essentially, Percy lives near the Harlem River, right across the river from the New York City Riding Academy.
Oh.
I think Google Maps.
There's a riding academy inside New York City?
Yeah, there's a racetrack there, too.
What?
Yeah.
Where is there room for it?
There's a whole Central Park.
It was probably built before a lot of the buildings were.
But actually, there is actually quite a few horse-related events in and around New York City. And there used to be a huge horse show in Madison Square Garden every year. Yeah, believe it or not. Right. Yeah. And I think at this point, Google Maps just knows that I'm interested in anything horse-related, because as I zoomed out of the map more, all of the different horse-related riding academies, stables, equestrian centers popped up, and that was really funny to me.
Yep, that tracks.
Yeah. So yeah, he lives between Yorkville and East Harlem, according to Google Maps. I've actually never been to New York City, so if that's totally wrong, don't come for me. I was just reading off of the map. And funny story about that. Another tangent here. A podcaster recently released a novel. I don't want to go into too many details, but I'm sure if you are anywhere in podcasting space, you might have heard about this podcaster releasing a book. And the setting was placed entirely in a city that the author has never been to. And when asked, how did you write a book placed in this location because you've never been there, the podcaster replied, oh, Google Maps helped me. And people who are currently living in the city or have lived in the city are giving their thoughts about it, and apparently the book is shit because of the inaccuracies about the location, the people, and everything like that. So it's kind of it's interesting to me because I know that Rick Riordan is from Boston, so I'm assuming he did his research for New York City and probably visited at some point, but it just kind of threw me back into the very contemporary issue of this podcaster releasing a book and having never been to the city in which the book is set. So,
what city is it?
New Orleans.
How did I know that it was going to be New Orleans?
It's New Orleans. And one of the things that they got completely wrong was talking about cemeteries in New Orleans, and apparently implied that the people were buried under the ground in New Orleans. You don't bury people in New Orleans. You are below sea level. You have mausoleums. People don't get buried in the ground in New Orleans.
That's a quick Google, folks.
That's something I've known, and I've never been to New Orleans, and I don't even remember where I learned that, but that's a thing. That's not a hard thing to figure out.
You probably learned it from Caitlin Doty.
No, not Caitlin Doty.
No?
Before her, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, very funny. That kind of threw me back. But that actually brought me to a question for you, because you, as the creative writing major and the creative writer, the author, what are your thoughts on settings for stories? You know, what's the author's obligations to research or visit a place before they set their work there? Assuming it's based off of, and assuming it's placed in a real place, you know, like,
right.
You know, if it's a made up town outside of New York City, that's one thing. But if you're actually going to put your book set in New York, Los Angeles, Denver, New Orleans, what are your thoughts on what is the author obligated to do?
I think this kind of goes back a little bit to what we were talking about when we were talking about Twilight, which is using real people and places and cultures as a backdrop for an under-researched and a book with implications about real people.
Yeah.
So,
shout out to the Quileute tribe.
Yeah.
Sorry for everything.
As always. Yeah. Obviously, it's ideal if you can go there. If you're writing a book set in a real place, if you can go there. But if you, not everybody can.
Right.
There are certain places that you really need to go to learn, like, the landscape, and you need to actually talk to people there.
Yeah.
New Orleans is one of those places because it's so culturally diverse.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get something wrong. I'm guessing that this podcaster is white.
Oh, nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And so when you're writing about a place where the culture is probably not your own, you, at the very least, need to talk to people and listen to people who actually live there, who know the culture, who are part of that culture, if you have any desire to respectfully portray them in your book.
But I guess that's the ticket, if you want to respectfully portray them, if that's an issue that you're concerned with, which...
It's not a concern for everybody. I don't think it's as big of a deal for New York.
Yeah.
Especially in, like, modern day, you can very easily get the vibe of New York. And one of the things that I thought of is, like, just watch YouTube videos from people in that area. Tons of people make New York City vlogs.
There's a TikTok account that goes around asking people, I think the most common one is, what do you pay for rent in New York? And people will tell them, and then you go and tour their apartments, which is cool. But also, what people are living in are considered apartments is wild. Like, there are people who are living in apartments, full apartments, the size of the room that we're in right now.
Oh, geez.
So it's insane, but interesting, and it's cool.
Yeah, and that's something that you can learn from watching videos, from watching TikToks, from watching online interviews and videos from people who are living there. Google Maps will give you a sense of place, of direction, but it will not give you a sense of culture.
Imagine trying to write a book about Los Angeles using just Google Maps.
You wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh my God.
because you can't get the feel for the neighborhoods. The neighborhoods are not clearly delineated in Google Maps. And just, it would not be possible. I think, I mean, probably the reason that people are getting on this podcaster's ass, not this TikToker's ass, this podcaster's ass, is because of the cultural and racial element.
Yeah.
But even if that isn't part of your story, just to be on the safe side, I always recommend just making it a fake town.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm currently writing a novel that's set in Oregon. It's going to be a fake town, folks.
Yeah.
Because I've never been to Oregon. I've been through it when I was 17, but I've never actually been there. And so I don't have a distinct impression of any one city.
I'd love to go someday.
I need to go. At one point, I really wanted to live in Portland after graduating college. And like, that was the goal. Even just living anywhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
But I've never actually been there.
Well, we'll add it on to our Forks tour next time we decide to go on a road trip.
Yeah, we'll make a big loop. Go to the Ashland Shakespeare Festival.
Oh.
Yeah,
it'll be good. It'll be good.
When we have time, one of these summers.
We'll plan in advance, though, so we can go around your markets.
Yeah. And I'll plan my markets in advance. Yeah. But yeah, there's so much that you can learn about a place online, so I don't think it's necessarily required to visit a place, especially if it's a very populous place.
But go farther than Google Maps.
Do your due diligence. Google Maps is nothing.
Now that you've brought it up, like, even just watching videos or TikToks of a place, like, it's not a substitution for being there, but it's so much more than just Google Maps, which is cool. Yeah.
And if you're writing about a time period that is not our own, a lot of towns have their own historical archives with oral stories and interviews from people who've lived in the town, from each decade they have certain interviews. I know that the Sacramento archives have that.
Oh, cool.
They also have a TikTok.
I love that.
Increasingly these institutions and these libraries have social media, and if you have a question, ask a librarian. Because they'll find you an answer so quickly.
Yeah.
And because this is their shit.
Yeah.
As somebody who almost went to library school, this is their shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I can completely appreciate that. As far as my single foray into Google Maps, it appears that Riordan did his did his due diligence, because literally if you put it in Google Maps and go to Street View, you end up in front of an apartment building. So, hey, either really lucky guess or he knew where to put it.
I mean, Boston and New York City are not very far apart.
Yeah.
In terms of most podcasters who are centrally located. I'm going to make another guess here. Los Angeles.
Were the podcasters?
No. Okay. Wrong on that one. But most cities where media people are nowhere near New Orleans.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a trek. Still no excuse, but here we are.
Yeah. But as we're walking into the apartment in the chapter, actually, Percy starts talking about his family and introducing his mom, and actually mentions his dad was, quote, lost at sea. And
not dead, lost at sea. Specifically, he says that.
Percy, whomst ever could be your father. Whomst.
Who in the world?
And I'm sure as a kid reading this for the first time, I would have been stunned to learn the true paternity of Percy whenever it's going to be revealed. Again, I've never read the books, but I think I watched the movie years ago, and I know who his father is, Poseidon. Duh, spoiler alert. But I'm sure as a kid this was going to be huge lead up. But as an adult who has studied foreshadowing, Rick, my guy, it's barely 4. Like, this is kind of fourth wall shadowing. Like, it's really, like, it's there. The writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
We're seeing it.
I mean, but there's this thing, like, how often do you recognize patterns in hindsight in your life?
Oh, that's true.
That you don't recognize in the moment? And how more unlikely would you be to recognize, oh, my dad must be Poseidon,
I'm
this
having
mythical
flashbacks
being.
to all the red flags I've ignored in past relationships.
Exactly. But, like, add magic to that.
Add magic and a god as your father. Yeah, okay, fair. It's just amusing as an adult reading it, though.
Yeah. It is kind of a dramatic irony thing, because we know it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know it yet.
No. And also, I don't know if I'm in the headspace to give a talk about child abuse, but, like, dear God, the household that Percy is escaping from. I honestly, he should not blame himself for being sent away all the time if that's what's at home for him. And, like, I get it as a child who would want to be there. He would feel like it's his fault, but, like, God, I wouldn't want a child to be growing up with an adult like that. And thank you, random person named Eddie, for attempting to stick up to Percy with an ounce of decency when his stepfather, Gabe, tried to... Is it Gabe?
Yeah, Smelly Gabe.
Smelly Gabe tried to take his money from him, which is gross, first of all, but shout out to Eddie. Also, Ugliano is his last name. Ugly is obvious, but Ano in Italian is anus. So his name is literally Ugly Anus. I'm really about this. I like that. That seems like a nice underhanded you're a fucker kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it was so obvious too. But I loved how Percy describes him. He says on page 30, the guy reeked like moldy garlic pizza wrapped in gym shorts.
Oh, God.
Like, if that is not the most vivid image in this book so far.
Teenage boy, like, gym shorts that have been left in the locker for a month.
Even worse.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so vivid how shitty this guy is.
Yeah. And, like, just immediately, like, what are you doing here? I want, give me some money, and just assuming, like, well, not even assuming. Percy even says, like, if I don't comply with what he wants, he's going to beat the shit out of me. Which is kind of interesting to think about, because when he was getting bullied by that girl, Nancy Bobofet, in the first episode, and he attacked her with the water, foreshadowed as much. Like, we didn't really hear that that's what happened, but, like, other people were saying, oh, the water came out and, like, he got her. I wonder why that's never happened with Gabe. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, so as they're leaving, it kind of does happen.
Right.
Because he does the hand gesture, and then the screen door smacks Gabe on the ass on his way back into the apartment building. I think I mean, we've been comparing this to Harry Potter a lot. Mm-hmm. We have another Dumbledore moment. Like, why would you leave kids in an abusive home? Why has Sally married this guy? Why do the nicest ladies always end up with the shittiest men? Mm-hmm. And, like, he's a bit of an Uncle Vernon.
Kind of is, yeah.
Because he's just so squashing Percy into the ground, squashing his wife into the ground, and, like, everybody's okay with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's in this book or in later books, but Gabe does get his comeuppance.
Yes.
And if it doesn't happen in this book, then I'll tell you what happens in the later book, because I do remember what happens to him.
Okay, I can't wait.
But it's like there's no excuse for bringing this man into the household in the first place. Mm-hmm. So why did Sally do it? And I was like, but does his stink, like, repel monsters or something? Because even that is not worth it.
No.
And you can't have like, okay, when he's home, Gabe's stink repels the monsters and be sending him away to school every single year.
Yeah.
Those two don't match
It
up.
just seems weird. But she totally knows something is going on. She knows about the Greek progeny thing. And something related to it happened at the museum, because when he was telling her about the museum and paused, she didn't go to, oh, what happened or what's wrong. She specifically asks, oh, did something scare you? And that was really interesting to me, because she immediately picked up on, oh, there's something wrong. But just the specific question that she asked makes me think she knows. Obviously, she must know. And she's picking up on that. So that I thought was an interesting tidbit. And I'm really interested to learn more about her, because clearly she knows something. And I wonder if that's also why she's been wanting to go to the cabin with him all of a sudden, even though they haven't been in 2 years, and just decides we're going to go. So,
yeah. Here's another example of why you need to clearly communicate with kids. Because Percy knows that something's up. Sally knows that Percy's father is Poseidon.
Yeah.
And that there are monsters after him because he is a demigod. She knows.
She knows.
And she's been sending him away in an effort to protect him so that he's far enough from these creatures that they won't find him. She knows that is happening and that he's in danger. Moment. And yet she's not telling him anything, to the extent that he says, like, I think they're at the campfire or something, but he's like, is this why you like keep sending me away? And he thinks like that she doesn't want him there, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because his mom loves him so much and he knows that.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, he can't fathom another reason that she would keep sending him away to boarding school other than my mom doesn't love me enough.
Which is awful.
Yes, it's awful for any kid to think that. And like, he knows logically that that's not true. He knows logically that his mom loves him. But that thought still creeps in. And like, I don't know if it's an ADHD thing or an anxiety thing, but like, that's yet another unnecessary thing that this kid is having to go through.
Absolutely.
And having to process, because his parental figure will not communicate with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she thinks she's doing it for his own good. But Dumbledore thought he was doing it for Harry's own good.
No, I don't even think Harry, he thought he was doing it for Harry's own good. I think he knew fully what he was doing. Oh, God, I have another tangent, and I'm so sorry about this. But there was a post I saw somewhere about how Dumbledore intentionally kept Harry in the Muggle world so that he would feel awestruck whenever he was in the magic world, and keep him as like a martyr savior figure for the people of the magic world. Because if he had grown up, say, in the Weasley's house or with Sirius, and grown up knowing that all of this exists and also knowing that he was the chosen one, he would not have had the same sort of reverence for the people and the magic the way he did, because he was introduced to it as an 11-year-old. And, interesting manipulation tactic.
Yeah.
By Dumbledore, which I don't think Sally is doing here. I think she's trying to keep him alive and thinks keeping the truth from him is the safest thing to do. But it's lying to your kids is just not. And I'm hoping that trend is dying. I see a lot of like, again, TikToks or, people I know who have become parents who are trying to be more upfront with their kids at a developmentally appropriate kind of way.
Yeah.
And I think
you answer their questions in a way that's appropriate for whatever the age they are.
But you're not lying to them and you're telling them, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And treating them respectfully and telling them what you can. So hopefully that's a trend that discontinues, lying to your kids. I hope that slowly dies. But not in this case.
Yeah, not yet.
Nope.
Sally's doing her best. And she's so sweet.
I know.
She's so sweet.
Yeah.
She's doing her best. And it's not enough.
So it's kind of crazy to hear that this is not... So what happened at the museum was not the first quote-unquote supernatural occurrence in Percy's life.
Yeah, because all of a sudden he's remembering these other times where, like, guaranteed once every year, something goes down that's super weird.
Yeah.
He mentions one time getting stalked by a cyclops
on
the playground, which, like... He wasn't entirely convinced that it was a cyclops, but he thought, like...
He just said it was a guy with one eye in the middle of his head?
Yeah, and nobody believed him. But it's like, okay, this child has been stalked on the playground. What? Even if it wasn't a cyclops, that would be super weird. He also recalls the time that he was in preschool, got put down for a nap, and there was a snake in his bed, and... everybody came in, like, rushed in, and he had killed the snake, which, interestingly, is what Hercules did.
Oh my God, you're right.
And that is a scene in the movie of Hercules. I only know that because I kept getting, like, screenshots from it when I was Googling this. But the myth goes that Hera, who's the jealous wife of Zeus, sent snakes into Hercules' crib to kill him as a baby, but he strangled them and he lived. And she did that because she was angry that Zeus had cheated on her and created this demigod child.
Valid.
Yeah, but, like, Hera's always the vengeful wife in these.
Of course, it's always the woman's fault.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We should probably take a break right about now.
Let's do that.
We will be right back after these videos of pets. Again, if you're not watching the YouTube videos, you should be, because videos of pets. All right.
Videos of pets.
We will be right back. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hope you enjoyed those pet videos, as always. And what are we talking about now? I see a lot of saddle pads on my page.
No, because I'm looking at this article here, because I started thinking about what the symbolism of the snake itself means, because it was in the story of both Hercules and for Percy. And actually, it's kind of interesting because all the answers that I'm getting are showing that snakes were a sign of fertility, rebirth, renewal, and even immortality. So it's kind of like a really backhanded thing to strangle a baby with a snake, which honestly tracks for the Greek gods, I think. But it's also interesting to know, like, that was what the snake would symbolize, and sending that in to kill Percy and Hercules. So just kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to look that up because we see some other animals that are used to frighten Percy in some way in this chapter, don't we?
Yeah, so he has a dream, which is a sort of premonition / what's really going on underneath the surface. And in his dream, there is a horse fighting an eagle.
And this is once they're at the cabin, right?
Yeah. So this is after they've had their really nice, like, moment by the campfire, their dinner, and he's, like, trying not to upset his mom any more than she's already obviously upset.
About something we don't know about.
Right.
And they were talking about a summer camp.
Yeah. There's one place that she doesn't want to send him to, but that she's thinking she's going to have to, and that's a summer camp. So it's like...
Backtracking a little bit too. Sorry, we were talking about the animals, but also we were talking about his father, and he seems to have a memory of his father. At least he thinks he has a memory of his father, but she's insisting that he was gone, that the father was lost at sea before Percy was even born, which is interesting. And she's also saying that his father wanted him to go to this summer camp of some kind, which is where she's resisting sending him, but is now thinking maybe this is the only place to go. But he's also confused that the father would want this for him when he was still in utero. So it's a lot of really confusing things going on here. And I really want to know more about what the mom knows, because clearly she knows a lot.
Yeah. And it's weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they go to sleep. He has this dream of the white horse and the golden eagle
fighting each other
as like a storm rages in the background. So Poseidon is the father of horses.
I can vibe with that.
And actually, I found this, and I want to say it because it's kind of weird, but the Pegasus is the child of Poseidon and Medusa.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I don't know how those two add up.
That's wow. It's weird that I love that in a weird way.
I don't know how it happened, like, is the thing.
It's also interesting that the horse is being associated with water, because I'm thinking of Frozen, which is based off of more Norse mythology, and how Elsa's powers, and she has this connection with ice normally, but also a little bit of water. And in the second movie, she actually tames this water horse, this ice horse. And it's what takes her to Valhalla, I think is what it's called. Essentially,
Elsa goes to Valhalla?
Or something like that. Have you not seen the second one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, we'll have to watch it. But yeah, there was a little bit of that symbolism of the horse coming from the water and coming from the ocean, which was interesting. And I think that harkens back to some Norse mythology. I could be totally wrong. Correct me if I am. But that just reminded me of that whole scene and that symbolism of it, which is kind of cool. So
it reminded me of that part of the Fellowship of the Ring where the waves are coming in, and like Arwen is calling the water to wash away the ring, right?
That scene. Shit, she's my girl. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's what it made me think of.
Oh fuck.
Do you want to be? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Boo. He responds to the phrase "do you?"
That's usually when we're asking if he wants to go in a CAR
stretched
RIDE.
out like that. Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry, buddy. I didn't mean it. I meant, do you want to be traumatized by a fun fact that I found out?
Yes, I love trauma. It's my favorite thing.
I mean, at the same time, you will not watch a movie where a horse dies.
Yeah.
This is kind of about that.
Oh, okay.
So sailors in ancient Greece, for a safe voyage, would sometimes sacrifice horses to Poseidon.
Don't love that. Okay.
So
yeah, not great.
Not great, but that's my not so fun fact about the horses and Poseidon. And then the golden eagle is sometimes the messenger and sometimes the animal form of Zeus. The eagle is a harbinger of victory, particularly for like Roman armies and Roman emperors.
Okay.
And like it's associated with like victory, strength, domination. It's why it's the symbol. The bald eagle is a symbol of the United States. It's also why the iron eagle is a symbol of Nazis. So
clearly no parallels between the two.
Yeah. So this is like an ancient symbol.
Yeah.
The golden eagle specifically, though, is Zeus.
Okay.
So in this dream, we're seeing that Poseidon and Zeus are fighting, but also there is a rumbling sound in the background. It says on page 41, a monstrous voice chuckled somewhere beneath the earth, goading the animals to fight harder. And I thought, like, maybe that's Titans, maybe that's Kronos, maybe that's
Hades?
Something else. Maybe that's Hades. But somebody is causing this feud. It's not just that Poseidon and Zeus are in a disagreement. It's something bigger than that.
Something's egging them on.
So
oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's what's kind of being revealed in this dream. And then Percy wakes up and it's storming and it's like a hurricane outside. And then they have to go.
They have to go. Because
And
then fucking
Grover's
Grover
there.
shows up, like out of nowhere, out of
Yeah.
the blue. He's like banging on the doors, like, let me in. And then Sally answers the door and is like, what the hell happened at school? Which is like such a mom thing too. Like when shit happens, it's like, what did you do? Not even asking what's going on. You know, who are you? More like, what did you do? What happened at school, honey?
Like she knows this kid.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny to see from Percy's perspective, being like, she's not even caring that Grover is standing at the door. But she's more like, what happened at school? Like, you lied to me about something. She truly knows something.
Yeah. So we see Grover in his true form finally, which last time we said, like, yeah, he's a satyr. But this time Percy's finally seeing it. And like, okay, this guy has goat legs.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So, I did a little bit of Google translating because that's what I do. And it says that he like cursed in ancient Greek, but Percy understood perfectly what he said. What he actually said was Zeus and other gods.
Oh.
So.
Okay. So kind of like saying Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And it's cool that Percy understood everything he said.
Yeah.
Which is
and we don't
wild.
yet know why.
No.
But yeah. I don't know. Is that the end of my notes?
It looks like that is. But I do like the fact that he was more respectful. The author was more respectful about the way that Grover walks now. It says more of a muscular disorder in his legs, not necessarily saying that he was crippled. So that was good. That was a good one. But now Percy and Grover and his mom are running for their lives.
Yeah. And we still don't know what from.
The car's about to get fucked, isn't it?
I
think the
I
car's
don't remember, but I think so.
Because right at the beginning when Gabe was like, not a scratch on it, boy, even though he's not even driving. He's 12, dude. Yeah, I would love to see that car get wrecked. Hopefully everyone inside survives.
I have a feeling the car is going to get wrecked.
Yeah.
It's going to like get picked up by a giant or something. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to add about this chapter?
No, other than I'm excited to keep reading. Like it's been on, it's chapter 3, but it's been a couple weeks and I think it's going to be getting more interesting from here. I'm excited. And I think the more we're learning about Grover, the more we're going to learn about Percy and the more we're going to have, we're going to learn more about Greek mythology too, which is what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten into the meat of the book. I think we're about to though, because I mean, it's inevitable that Percy needs to know what's going on. There's no excuses anymore. He now knows that like Greek mythology stuff is real because I mean Grover's standing in front of him as a satyr. There's no way to hide this from him anymore. No. And that's going to be a turning point in his whole life and a turning point in the book.
Yeah.
So
just a little bit of a change.
Just a tiny change. Smidge. Like it's not a huge adjustment.
To find out you're only half human.
Yeah.
It's fine. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Liking this one.
Yeah.
Very cool.
This would have been so fun. Like, I mean, even now, I just want adventure, guys. I just want to go on an adventure. Have something exciting happen.
I want to get through the LSAT.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at this point. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, that's that. I think
that's
are we done here?
Yeah, I think so. Let us know if you guys have any comments or questions about this chapter and everything like that, or want to join in. We have some plans for some guest appearances, which will be fun. I'm looking forward to that. And then, yeah, I think that's about it. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you're checking on your student loan paperwork and making sure that you are applying. Even if you don't think you're eligible, apply anyway. Reach out to us at doitforthevamps@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter. And we do have a TikTok, but I'm probably going to start making those videos after the LSAT. So, forgive me for that one, but priorities here. And yeah, you can find us anywhere podcasts are heard, which is Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you have any questions or anything like that, let us know.
Yep. And that Twitter is at Let's Unpack Pod.
Yeah.
And so is the TikTok.
And they're all going to be in the show notes.
Yeah. Everything's linked there. All of our sources of information are also linked there. And anything that we referred to. So yeah.
Sounds good. Very nice. Hope everyone is well. I think that's us signing off.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get wet.
I still don't have anything better than that.
And
I'm trying.
Nah. Don't worry about it.
Talk to your kids.
Talk to your kids. That's also
talk to your kids about Greek mythology.
And maybe their true parentage.
Yeah, Greek gods in my children. It's more likely than you think.
I hate it. Greek gods in my children. Anyway. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
They don't have DNA. They do, though. I don't know.
Anyway,
we're not getting into that in this chapter. It comes up later in the book.
Very nice.
All right.
Have a good one. Bye.